Evening, everybody. We'll let some more folks get up here and kind of go over our quick little topic tonight. Hopefully, it won't take too long. What I got to talk about tonight shouldn't take too long. It's been a while since I've done a video. Figured I'd come up and do something kind of quick and easy. Just kind of remind y'all that I'm still here. Can everybody hear me okay? Can everybody hear me okay? Somebody pop up and say y'all can hear me. Getting a lot of haze. Okay, there we go. Good deal. All right. Tonight I'm just gonna do a little quick something on one of our products that we get a lot of calls about, and believe it or not, a product that not many people know exists. You know, we make this product. A few other people make this product. I still believe that ours is one of the better of the designs, though. A lot of people call in, backyarders, carters, mini bikers, y'all can hear me. Yeah, I say y'all. I'm from South Georgia. I say y'all. The chain brakes that we manufacture, you know, for sizing chains. They see them on our website. They don't know what they are, or people call up and order a chain and want to ask how, you know, if I need a chain longer or a chain shorter, do I add, you know, more master links? Do I put bigger sprockets? Do I move the rear end out? No, you don't have to do all that. You can just, you know, actually break the chain. You know, you're not breaking it in two. What you're doing, this tool removes the pins out of the chain. I know a lot of y'all know about this, but believe it or not, there's a lot of people out there that does not know that you can break a chain and how to do it. As you see, the bolt, one of the bolts at the top has a long pin on it, and that goes in there and pushes the pin out of the chain, breaks the chain in two. Then your other bolt down here pushes the pin back in. You take links out, you can add links to it. You know, it's a very simple tool to use. I'll give you a quick demonstration here. This is a used chain off of one of my carts here. Basic, very simple design. The hardest part about using this tool is figuring out, you know, what links go where. You know, you got what I call wide links to short links, upper links, lower links. A lot of people call them a lot of different things, but either way, you just line up the link, and the one with the, you know, the pin here is the one that's you're gonna push the pin out with. Takes a simple 1/4 inch Allen. Both of them are the same size. You can do this by hand. You ain't gotta lock it down in no vise. You can do it on the cart. You can do it on the mini bike. You can do it on the lawnmower, whatever. And it just simply pushes the pin right out of the chain. Again, a lot of y'all know about this. A lot of people out there don't. I get calls about this, you know, I wouldn't say all the time, you know, several times a month, more than I should be getting on it. Now, as long as these things have been out there, people should know about them. And you basically just push the pin all the way out until you feel it bottom out on the other side. See the pin come out? There it is right there. You don't want to force it too hard because, you know, you can break stuff in there. But just till you feel it bottom out, and then back the bolt back out. Then your chain will come right apart. See how easy that was? Boom. Alright, and what I was talking about, upper links and lower links, wide links, short links. You see you got that end right there, and you got that end there. Now when you're taking links out, you know, you don't just take one little section. You have to go down to the next wide area here. You know, that's going to be the trick on breaking chains and putting them back together, is figuring out what area goes back together and what is considered a link, what is considered a half link. A whole link in this would be considered the wide area that goes over the outside of the chain that would fit over this. So you would have to go to right here. if you're going to take a link out, you'd have to take that, go down 2 pins. 1 pin, 2 pins. And then when you take that off, the wide area, I knew this chain was going to kink up on me. It does it every time I try to demonstrate something. The wide area would go back over the next narrow area. That's taking 1 link out is as simple as that. But remember, 1 link is actually 2 pins if you're doing it with our tool here. Now to put the chain back together, simple as can be. You just flip the little piece over, lay the area with the pin sticking out down in it, and this will be the other bolt here that doesn't have a pin in it. It's got a notched out area that contours to the pin and helps push it in easy. And our system lines the chain back up perfectly so that you can just about push the pin back in, you know, with just a small handheld Allen, but I always use a T-handle, and she'll go right on back in. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Done this at the shop the other day for somebody, and I couldn't get the pin to go back in. I looked like an idiot. But luckily this one went in. It was an old wore out chain. This one's got a few races on it, and you just go back in till you feel it bottom out, and our device holds it on both sides good and square. You go until it bottoms out, and I just usually give it a good little push on it to make sure it goes in good, and voila, she's back together. Now sometimes on older chains that's been run a lot, that's got a little wear in it, when you put these links back together, it may have a little stiff area in it. You know, you'll roll the chain around, you'll see it not wanting to bend properly. That's usually a sign that your chain is worn out. You know, the pin come out one way, and as it slid in, you know, these pins wear. You know, they might rotate, they may not. I really don't know, but they wear in a certain area. And when that chain's going around, it's doing this the whole time. It goes around a sprocket. Remember the video I done about small sprockets and big sprockets? All right, they go around them sprockets, and that stuff bends. And if you push that pin out after the chain's been run for 5 or 6 races, it may have a stiffness in it. You know, that'll after you roll the sprocket around a few times, it'll kind of work itself out. That's usually a sign you need a new chain. I tell people, on stalkers, these things, as they wear, they actually begin to create more drag because as they wear, the little rollers in there, they're technically not rollers. The sprockets, they're designed to kind of glide on and off the sprockets. These are RLV gold on gold chains that we sell, by the way. But as it wears, the chain will wear, and as the sprockets wear, it kind of gets a little bit of misaligned, and it will create some drag. So I tell people about every 4 or 5 races, on a stalker, put a new chain on it. Some people do it every race, some people do it every other race. But about 5 races. If you're really running money style races, high momentum races where 1/10 of a second means you're on pole or you're starting 8th, chains are very important. That's less drag, that's more speed. Modifieds, depending on the amount of power you're making. I run these chains on my 390. I change them every race. I show up at the race with a brand new chain, run the race. At the end of the night or the next day or whatever, that chain comes off, gets stowed away because them big blocks, they stretch them a lot. A lot of people run the 420, 428 chains on it. I'm still on these, but I just change them every race. No big deal. When it comes to chain wear and all, you got to keep a really close eye on your sprockets, because as the sprockets wear, the chain can kind of can wear one side of it, because it's really, even if you got the chain lined up with these laser alignment tools and stuff we use, when you go through the corners, if you're on road racing or whatever, the chain kind of tends to, fall to one side because of centrifugal force. And it begins to wear the edge of the sprocket up here, which can cause a little, I wouldn't say misalignment, but a little more friction as it wears. So if Now, you don't want these chains, Brad, trust me. This is off my big block. This thing here is stretched probably about 3 inches longer than when I originally put it on there. That's why I got to change them every single race. I've yet to break one, but I change them every race. But like I say, with the sprockets, keep an eye on your sprockets, because when they start wearing and going to a point up here, then that means your chains are kind of, you know, rolling around and misaligning, and it's time to upgrade. You know, just because it's still got teeth on it and not worn out, don't mean it's not slowing you down. Now, Saturday night racing, small track racing where you run really low gear ratios, that's not going to be as big of a deal as the tracks like we run around here, where we're running, you know, 16 and 17 drivers on stockers and turning them, you know, 68, 6900. Chain drag and on these big momentum tracks that we run on is very, very important. And, you know, people's always talking, man, I'm a tenth off, I'm 2/10 off, you know, every week. It could be your drive line. It could be, you know, the sprocket on the drive sprocket is, you know, starting to get a little wore and the chain ain't lining up just right as it goes on, or the rear sprocket, the chain itself is wore out. Little things like that help add up the speed at the end of the day. Now, you know, cleaning these chains, I leave the chain on, you know, when I wash the cart. I water wash, as most of you know that are friends of me on my personal Facebook page. I put pictures up all the time of Landon out there washing my cart with me. You know, we wash them with water. A lot of people don't like that. I don't care. I've done it for almost 30 years. Never had a problem with it if you do it right. But, you know, I take the clutch off and droop the chain down over the rear gear and use degreaser. You know, clean it really good, wash it out, fire the engine up. That's a whole nother story. But blow the chain off with the air hose after I get done, and then I just kind of spray it with WD-40 just to keep it from rusting. Then when I go back the next day, take the cart back to the shop or whatever, you know, I always take the rear axle out of it, because most carts these days have the little clamshells and you can take them right out. Pop the clamshells off, take the axle out, clean the bearings. I take the chain off so I don't have to break it. Just slide it over the axle, take it out, and I drop it down into regular motor oil, you know, that I've taken out the cart. You know, the Lucas karting oil I run, I'll save some and let the chain soak in it until I'm ready to go race next time. Take it out, kind of wipe it off with a rag, or go outside and do the towel sling, whatever. Put it back on. You know, do it that way for 3 or 4 weekends, and that helps get oil, you know, down in the chain, and also helps clean it. You know, clean your sprockets. I see people show up at the racetrack all the time with gunk built up all around right below the chain on the sprocket. You know, that holds dirt, you know, which slows the chain down, which wears the chain quicker, you know, which wears the sprockets quicker. You know, once that chain is off and you're at washing, you know, you ain't got to take the sprocket off if you run the same gear a bunch, but clean that gook off of it. You take some brake cleaner and clean all that in here, because that sticky residue in there, like I say, holds dirt. And if it's not wearing the chain, it is slowing it down, because as it rolls, it's got to crunch that dirt, and that's friction. That's more friction. Kind of speeding through this really quick tonight. But far as chain, you know, if you're racing anything, if he does have clothes on, he's just got on drawers, that's all. But he's not naked, for any of y'all wondering. Hello.
Bye bye.
You gonna tell everybody about your fun day today?
Yeah.
Hey, easy, watch out. You tell everybody you rode on the school bus for the very first time today?
Yeah.
You tell everybody you went to the farm and seen some donkeys?
Yeah.
Saw some of your kinfolk?
Yeah.
You seen some billy goats?
Yeah.
You seen an alligator?
Yeah.
Did you see a wampus cat?
Yeah.
You did see a wampus cat?
Over there.
No, that's our kitty cat. That's not a wampus cat. A wampus cat's a big old cat that goes "Meow" when he gets you. I just got grease on him. He just got out the tub. No, you can't have that, buddy. All right. You gonna say something to anybody else? You gonna tell everybody? Wave at them. Give everybody a doofus. Give him a doofus. Give him a doofus. You doofus. Are you a doofus?
Rising, rise. Rising, rise.
I don't know what he's saying, but yay! All right, you done? Are you done?
Thanks.
I got to get back to it, buddy.
You want change?
I'm getting kind of jealous as people
Say
are talking
no,
more about you on these
Kitty.
videos than they are me.
Yeah.
All right, bye. Can I have my tool back, please? I gotta have it. Well, you can go work on something. Okay. Well, I'm through demonstrating how the chain brake works. I no longer have a tool, but you know, y'all got the idea of it. But anyway, like I say, if y'all race anything, karts, mini bikes, whatever, took him out kicking the screen. And he's prettier than you are, Jonathan Cope. Smart ass. Anyway, whatever you're racing, stockers, you know, modifieds, you know, 14.5s and down, mini bikes, whatever, you need a good chain. You know, this is the RLV. This is the best chain that we sell. The RLV Gold on Gold, a really, really good chain. It's got a high tensile strength. Normal carts and stuff, you know, don't stretch them a whole lot. You know, the big blocks like I run, you know, stretch them, so you have to keep an eye on them or change them regularly. But it's always good to have a good chain. We sell a black on gold. It's a little bit cheaper than this one. Still a very good chain, but don't go down to Home Depot or, you know, a lawnmower shop or, you know, Tractor Supply and buy this big old roll. I can get a big roll of chain for, you know, a little more than what I paid for one of those. You're going to use it twice as fast and it's going to break, you know, and stretch and wear stuff out quickly. You know, 99% of the time you get what you pay for. So a good chain, you know, made of good materials that's made for what you're doing is going to pay off in the long run. Now, I said at the first of this, you know, people talk about master links, you know, and why I like having a chain brake in my toolbox versus a master link. Because all you can do with a master link is put a chain together and take it apart in that one area. That's it. If you're going to bigger sprockets, if you need a longer chain, if you need a shorter chain, you can't do it with this. And I've seen a bunch of these things fail. Saturday night, we was up at Carnesville at Georgia Karting Complex. My season-ending UAS series was up there, and one of the stock classes, they were parked down from us a little bit, and I watched them put a chain on with a master link. It made 3 laps and broke, and the little kid was fast, and you know he should have been up front. Maybe could have won. I don't know, but you know I don't know if they didn't put it on right or what, but you know it was a master link. Made 3 or 4 laps and the chain broke and it laid on the front straight away on the track. So that's why these are a lot better. You know, because you can take the chain apart, you can shorten it, you can lengthen it, and when it goes back together, as long as the chain is in good shape to begin with, it's gonna go back together right, and it's gonna perform, you know, just like it did before you broke it. I use these all the time. You know, I put them on my big blocks. I have to take about a link and a half out. I use the 120. We sell them in 120 length and 106 length, and that's the actual link count, not length, but link. You know, each link. There's 106 links or 120 links, and I run the 120 on my big block, and I have to actually take about, depending on what gear I run, about 2 links out of it. And I put it together with this, and so far, you know, knock on wood, I hadn't broke a chain on it yet because I keep them changed. And you have a new one on every race. But I wouldn't dare. I wouldn't even put one of these on a good stalker. You know, that's just me. I know we sell them. They're made by a good company. I've never had really good luck with them. And they're you know, all you can do is put it together and take it apart. That's it. Like I say, cleaning the chain. You can't. You change like everything else. You can't get it too clean. You know, this is the main drive system. You want as little drag in this as possible. So, like I said before, you know, don't be scared to clean it with degreaser and get it with a brush and scrub it. Just don't let it dry because it will rust. It's just, you know, the oil comes off of this. It's bare metal. It will rust and then ruin the chain. So, clean it really good, scrub it really good, blow it off with an air hose, and you know you can use WD-40 on the chain after it's been washed just to keep it from rusting. Now, to me, that's all this is for. WD-40 is a penetrating oil. You got a stuck bolt, it'll get down there and help it get out. You got, you know, exposed metal, It'll help keep it from rusting. If you got water down in something, you can spray it and it'll disperse the water out. You know, that's what WD stands for, water dispersant, in formula number 40. In case y'all didn't know that. Water dispersant, formula 40. That's what that stands for. Look it up. You can Google it. But it is not a high pressure lubricant. I know it says lubricates on the back of the can, but that's lubricating door hinges, door knobs, bicycle chains, you know, low speed, low impact stuff. I'll use this on the chain just to keep it from rusting. That's it. You need something on the chain that's made for a chain. You know, that's gonna get on the chain, that's gonna adhere to the chain and protect the chain, and actually is a high pressure, what I call high shock lubricant. You know, we sell the Lucas chain lube. This is all I use. I got a lot of people that use this. We sell a whole bunch of... Yeah, Bradley, it says displacement. Okay, I mispronounced it. Sue me. I was still close, though. Close enough for government work. But anyway, the Lucas is... That's all we sell. There's a reason why we only sell Lucas products of this, that, and that, because it is the best in our opinion. You know, we got not only the Lucas company backing us, but our own data and other people's data backing us. But the one complaint I get about any type of chain lube, not only our Lucas, but any real chain lube, is when you spray it, it's foamy. It foams up, and there's a reason that it foams up. It's also got a penetrant in it. It penetrates, you know, roller bearings and in the chain really good, gets down into the pins, and that foam works down in there. You know, so I tell people, you know, if you use this, and I highly recommend it, use it on the chain, spray it, and, you know, don't just sit up there and spray it. But what I tell people to do is on the back of the axle, back where the sprocket is, on the very back side, you know, it comes with a, you know, the little squirter tube. Aim it right there and rotate the tires or the axle around slowly. Make sure you go around the whole chain. All right, let it sit there for, you know, a minute or so, and let it, because what it's doing is it's getting down there on the chain, it's getting around the rollers, getting in the pins, and it's like years ago we had stuff called chain wax. You sprayed it on there and it's supposed to, the wax would adhere to it. No, that's kind of what this is doing. It's coating the chain. That foam stuff dries on it, and it coats the chain. But let it sit there for a minute, you know, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever, and then just get a rag, not a paper towel, but, you know, a shop rag, red rag, and wrap around the chain and rotate the axle and pull the chain through it. And it'll take off that excess, and everything else gets down in the chain. And, you know, you're not going to put anything on a chain that doesn't sling off. I'm sorry. Even this says, you know, adheres to chain, you know, non-slinging formula, bulloccy. I've used that stuff for years. I've used, they got one called Grease Lightning. You can get it at AutoZone. You can get it at Home Depot, Lowe's. Grease Lightning chain lube. All the chain lubes are going to be, I don't even know what you're saying there, dude. But all the chain lubes are going to be some type of foam. They're going to be thick, and you let them sit there for 2 weeks, and something's going to sling off of them after they get going. That's just how lubrication is. But that's why I tell folks to let it sit there for a few minutes, take a rag, hold it, and pull the chain through it, and wipe off the excess, and you get a whole lot less sling, and it gets down there and lubricates the chain well. You know, use that 2 or 3 times a night, and even sometimes during the night, you know, you get that buildup. If you run on, you know, any dirt surface, heck, I've had it on asphalt. You know, I've seen, you know, build up on chains on some of the cleanest asphalt tracks in the world. But you get that little buildup around the chain. Wipe that stuff off during the night, because that accelerates the wear on the sprockets, accelerates the wear on the chain, and slows you down. Why are y'all on here fussing on my page? Y'all don't get up here and fuss on my page. Y'all go somewhere else and do that. I don't care how many races you won. I don't care how many races somebody else has won. That has nothing to do with me or what I'm talking about. But anyway, basic chain maintenance. It's that simple. This chain lube, I also use it in my axles. Axle bearings, the front end bearings, you know, clean them out. So I take the axle out after I wash it every week, take the covers off, spray them out with carb cleaner, blow them out with the air hose, and I'll spray WD-40 in them to keep them from rusting. Don't ever use WD-40 in axle bearings. This stuff, it from some of the testing that I've done, it evaporates at like 110 degrees. And there's really nothing left but, you know, just some slimy stuff. You spray this in axle bearings, and if you live in South Georgia, North Florida, Texas, where it gets 100 degrees outside sometimes on a Saturday, your axle bearings are 100 degrees almost before you even hit the racetrack. So this stuff evaporates in a couple of laps, and your bearings are left with typically nothing. I use this in all the bearings and the chain. It foams up, roll it around, squirt it again, roll it around. If you don't use this, you know, I've used regular 90 weight axle grease in them. You know, everybody wants this ultra light stuff so that the axle will sit there and spin and spin and spin. Look at it, man, it spins for 5 minutes with no tires on it. That's great. Let's put a load on it with some dirt getting in there and see how well that WD-40 holds up. It don't. Put something in there that's going to lube your axles and going to stay there when it gets hot. You know, because these things, they build up heat, and you know, some of the smaller track or road course racing or, you know, UAS stuff, high horsepower stuff, you're getting a lot of pressure on these bearings. And I could care less if my axle sits there and spins for 5 minutes with no wheels or chain on it. That ain't impressing me. After a 20-lap race, will it still do it? You know, that's what I want to see. Hunter just messaged me something. That's funny. But anyway, good lubrication. You know, WD-40, keep stuff from rusting, penetrate. Real chain lube, real axle lube. Get it, use it. You'll thank me later. You know, because I see people all the time that buy these $75 and $80 a piece ceramic axle bearings for the rear end of their cart, and they're replacing them like after 8-9 races. And because they use crappy lube in them. I mean, just because they're ceramic don't mean they're not going to wear out. You know, ceramic is a hard, you know, very hard, you know, substance that it wears better and has less drag than steel does, but it still will wear out, and you still need lubrication in there. Tri-flow is something I'm always been on the fence on. Tri-flow is okay for chains. I'm not crazy about it in axle bearings. I know a lot of people that use it. Somebody's finna pop up here in a minute. Say, I've been using Tri-flow for 45 years. Good for you. I'm proud you have. I just don't like the lubrication principles of Tri-flow in a bearing, especially a rear end bearing. Chains, hey, that's fine. You know, grease your chains with it. And now I got somebody on my messenger messaging me back and forth. Okay, but anyway, that's kind of it there, folks. That was simple. I told you it was going to be quick. There ain't a whole lot to chain maintenance, clutch maintenance. Dang, I should have brought a clutch in here with me. I don't have one in here, I don't guess. My wife cleaned up in here, and she took all the parts that I had from other shows and put them in boxes and places, and I have no idea where they're at. That's why you never clean a man's area, because I got stuff laying specifically where I want it for a reason. But anyway, clutch maintenance depends on, you know, what kind of clutch you're using. Basically, good God, I'm going to have to go back and look at all these. Basically, like if you're using the drum style clutches like our Mongrel or a Stinger or a one of the Hilliard clutches, if they got the bushings in them, you got to do a lot of maintenance on them. That's why I'm not big on those bushing style clutches. Sometimes at the track, you got to put some type of lube in that bushing, and things are going to chatter. But if it's got the roller bearing, the needle bearings in them, like with the Tomar style clutches do, you know, those are simple. That's the whole reason behind us doing the Mongrel like we did. So it would take the roller bearings, a lot less maintenance, a lot better wear on them. You just take them apart, blow them out with the air hose, you know, blow out the roller bearings a little bit, and I use carb cleaner just like I would anything else. Clean out the old grease because the old lube in there's going to get dirt in there. I don't care if you are, running asphalt, you're running road course, you're running, one of the cleanest dirt tracks in the world, the dirtiest. It's going to get dirt in there. It's inevitable. So clean it out with carb cleaner. Spray it with WD-40. You don't want that to rust either. And inside of all my clutches, I use 90 weight gear oil. I just put a drop on my finger and just kind of roll it around in the bearing in there and put it back together. The disc, blow them out with an air hose. The drum, if you're using drum clutch, blow it out really good. You just make sure there's no dirt and debris and no awkward wear in there. And that simple as that. And keep an eye on your gears. The smaller gears you run, the quicker they're going to wear out. These people in Arkansas and in Kentucky. And speaking of Kentucky, we got a new shirt tonight. 510 Cartway. They're in Gordon, Kentucky, if I believe right. Small track up there, good track. I've been on their Facebook page a few times, and it's a small track, it's a fast track, looks like a very fun track. But these tracks like 510 Cartway in Kentucky, I'm pretty sure y'all run pretty small drivers up there. I'm assuming probably somewhere 11, 12, 13 range. The smaller drivers you run, the quicker they're going to wear out, because like in my other video I showed you about a year ago, that chain's got to make a small circle around that driver, and it's going to cause more wear. So keep an eye on your drivers, and when you see them teeth, kind of start leaning back a little bit, looking like a blade or something, it's time to change it. It still pull a chain, probably for many more races, but that is showing some elevated wear, and it's wearing your chains quicker, and it's wearing your rear gears quicker, and it's causing some friction. Keep an eye on those. Keep an eye on the wear inside there, because those drivers, can wear out inside the basket. And let me go over a few questions here. I see a lot of stuff popping up. Just give me just a second. Somebody popped the question up here I don't know the answer to. I don't know how much these things are. I did not get a price on them. I know the part number on it is 3720. If you go to the website, just type in chain brake in the search box, or type in 3720. I don't want to misquote. They in the $20 range, I think. Don't hold me on that, but okay, I couldn't answer something. Sorry. I guess it's Lionel Johnson or Lionel. It says they don't always go back in perfect. With our chain brake system, if it's an up to date good chain that ain't got a lot of wear on it, that pin's going to go back in the exact same way it come out because of the way we got our stuff lined up in here. Now, if the chain's got a lot of wear on it, or you're running these small gears or high horsepower, and the chain has been stretched, like with this chain coming off my big block, I was lucky that pin went in and out as easy as it did a while ago. I thought I was going to have a problem with it because it stretches the snot out of these chains. I'm talking, it's measurable how much it stretches them. But if it's a good chain, the chain's not been stretched or overworn, they should go back in right. And we also, just to let y'all know, that there's people that every once in a while break these pins because they over tighten or have a worn chain and stuff don't line up just right. So we do have replacement bolts with the push out pin available. It's on our website under this same section, or you can just call in and say you need a replacement pin bolt for the chain brake. Wow, a lot of stuff here. If the side plate on a chain is deforming enough so that the pin, let's say in economy chains, like I say, those tractor supply chains, a new one, it'll break it just like it done this one. But after you run it, for a while, I'm talking, an hour or so, that chain is probably stretched and those bolts may not go in and out right, because the chains from Tractor Supply, Lowe's, Home Depot, lawnmower shops, they're not made for high horsepower, they're not pre-stretched. The chains are made of material that will stretch, and then you may get some misalignment and might not go back in. That's why you need to buy as good of equipment as you can. If you just out back riding the trails, riding something like that, joy riding, use whatever you can afford. But if you're on the racetrack and you're racing not only for a trophy but for money or for points, or even bragging rights, you want the best that you can afford. I ain't saying you got to go out and buy top dollar everything, but buy the best that you can, because in the long run it's actually cheaper to do that, because cheaper chains are going to break, and if they break on the racetrack, you got a chance it could mess up your drive sprocket, your rear sprocket, your chain guard, or it could flop up and hit you. All that stuff can be costly after a while. But it's always best to use the best that you can afford. Dumpster dive at my place. The dumpsters are all on the inside of the shop. They're locked up at night for a reason. Alright, bear with me. Wow. Like I say, we sell chain by the link. We sell the black on black, the gold on black and the gold on gold in 106 links, and we also got the gold on gold in 120 links. ROV's a really good chain. Yep, really good chain. That's why we sell it. Yeah, broken chain will do a lot on your arm. I seen somewhere on Facebook, it's been back in the summertime, where someone broke a chain and it literally wrapped up around the chain guard and almost snatched it off the side of the engine. It looked really, really bad. Typically on stalkers, depending on what chassis you got and what size gears you're using. Now, if you're on a small track where you're running 12, 13, 14 drivers, the 106 length will probably be fine. If you're running bigger drivers, 16, 17s and 18s or even 19s in front, like on like plates and stuff, you might want to run the 120 length. But then again, some people like to run their engine as far forward on the right side of the chassis as possible, because that gets weight off the right rear tire, which helps free the go-kart up. So, like I say, it just depends on what you're doing, but we sell a lot of both, the 106 and the 120s. So it's just kind of, I'd say take the chain off your cart and measure what you got, and if we ain't got it, then we got something that can make it the right length. That's what this whole thing's about. This right here, there's no standard in chains. Everybody's gonna use different lengths. Strong arm racing in the house. Brandon Reynolds himself. Yes, Jeff, you gave me the Lucas banner that's behind me. Okay, I get decals from you. Okay, I'm the one that worked the deal with Lucas, and you get more stuff than I do. I just don't understand it. Okay, how many races have you won? I don't care how many races you've won. I think I covered ceramic bearings, but don't listen to this. I don't know what you're saying to do. Anyway, ceramic bearings, they take the same type of lubrication as any other bearing does. Something that will stay in there and something that will actually protect it. WD-40, and in my opinion, Tri-Flow is not. Get some. I'd rather use, like I say, I've used 90 weight gear oil. In my UAS cart, I use 90 weight gear oil, and when I put the bearings and all back together, after I clean it up, with no tires or chain on it, the axle won't sit there and spin. But after the first practice, it spins like it's supposed to. But that's a high horsepower cart. Now, like I say, I probably wouldn't use nothing no thicker than a good chain lube or some good lubricating oil or motor oil or I've never been sold on tri-flow in there. A lot of people use it, and if you've been using it and getting away with it and everything's been fine, then hey, keep on trucking, baby. You know, just nothing I say is written in stone when it comes to stuff like this. This is just from my experience, not only as a racer, business owner, shop worker, track worker. You know, that's just from my experience. You know, I'm not saying that tri-flow won't get you by, but if you've been using it, great. But ceramics take, you know, the same type of lube and cleaning that other ones do. They're just a little different. Yeah, WD-40 is a very good cleaner. I found that if you live in the South Georgia area and deal with love bugs in the front of your truck, you know, those little bugs that go around humping in the air and they hit the front of your truck and splatter everywhere, and it was like you went through a pepper field. WD-40 will get it right off. You take it, spray it down, let it sit for a second, spray it on a rag, and it wipes them right off. Then wash your truck, re-wax it like it never happened. I don't know why I told you all that, but that's just some more free advice. Actually, you know, if you just freshly, he says here, will sand stick to it? I don't like using anything that keeps dirt on the chain. You're not going to put anything on the chain that sand's not going to stick to. If it's a sandy situation, like if you run off the track and your gear, you know, hits the ground, or it's really dusty going out on the track, or if you're like Jonathan Cope and spin out leaving the pit grid, there's a chance you can get dirt up in the chain. Any lube, I don't care what you put on it, sand's gonna stick to it. But there's not much you can do there. I mean, I don't know what to say there. I'm kind of lost, but you know, the one advantage I will say the WD-40 may have there is that, you know, if you lube your chain with WD-40 and leaving the pit grid, some dirt gets on it. By the time you've gone out down the back straightaway, the WD-40 slung off, and probably so has most of the sand, but so has all your lube. And now you got, you know, no lube on the chain. That's direct metal to metal. But there again, I still want something that's going to be on there and protecting my chain. Yeah, I've won a lot of races with a shoe clutch. I've won, you know, stock races, racing against bullies and other type of carts with a shoe clutch. Just because it's a shoe clutch don't mean it ain't good. Are you asking if I am ARC? Well, this is the ARC page, and you see me. Voila. I'm all you got, buddy. I'm sorry they couldn't find a better looking face, but I'm the one. Okay. Let me see something here. Recommend WD-40 to clean a Hilliard. Well, like I say, the WD-40 is a penetrant oil and a penetrating oil, not a penetrant, a penetrating oil, and it's also a good cleaner. It gets down in there, and like when you lube, because the old, what I get from the Hilliards is this is why I think they do. I've never really asked them this, but the reason I think they tell you to clean it with is because when the old Hilliards had a bushing in there, and when you would lube it, that lube would get on the inside of the clutch. It kind of sling out on the inside, and WD-40 kind of helps clean that stuff out. And that way you ain't got to take it off and take it apart. You can just kind of spray it up in there and it cleans it out. But you know, I think it might still be in the instructions with our mongrel clutch that, you know, spray WD-40 up in there and help clean it out, you know, and just helps, you know, like if you riding your mini bike and stuff like that, and you might go through water or something, it helps get water out of it, helps get dirt out of it, just helps clean it. And like I say, that stuff evaporates at 110 degrees on average, and on a clutch, as soon as you go 20 feet, it's 150 degrees, so it burns off really quickly. Just to help clean it and stuff like that, but it burns off quick. I don't know who this dude is right here that keeps popping up here with his stuff, but you're about 2 comments away from getting the door. I don't know who you are or who you think you are, but that stuff don't boop, happen on here, just like that. All right. Oh, look at him, my boy David Simpson has come to the rescue. These things are $20.28. I told you in the $20 range, I wasn't sure. But my boy David Simpson is actually watching the show tonight. You're gonna get to sweep half the shop tomorrow. Thank you, David. I'm glad you're on here watching. Yeah, chain brake's 20. Wow. A lot of people going back and forth on here. Ryan, I think I said earlier, on the big block, I run the 120 link. Depends on what gear I run, but I hadn't run the big block, but I've had that thing for, what, 2 years now? And probably hadn't run it 7 times, 8 times maybe. But yeah, I run the 120 link, and depends on what driver I'm running, which I usually run the same driver pretty much everywhere I go. I just change the rear gear, but usually run the 120 link. And I've got a tensioner on the bottom of it, you know, that helps keep the train in line. But that's just on my cart. Now, the new cart I'm building, the motor I think the motor sits a little bit further forward, so I may have to run a longer chain on it. I hope not, but we'll see. Spark plug from using the standard ALC billet file can use a non-restrictor cap. Grant, I believe you sent this question to me last night. I just hadn't got to it yet. I was reading it going down the road. Don't tell nobody that. But I don't believe none of the clone ignition. God, I had a brain fart just then. The coil of the spark plug cap. I don't think none of the clone ones have come with resistors in them for quite a while now. I know on the Predator engines, like the Hemis and non-Hemis, I've went and bought 4 engines, and 3 of them have resistors in them, and 1 of them won't. And the next time I'll go, none of them have resistors in them. So the Predator engines is kind of up in the air, but I just usually, you know, take the cap off, and you know, I use the caps that we sell there from Box Stock Projects. They don't have resistors in it, and you know, the only plug that I use is the AR3910X. I use that in every engine I do. Restrictor plate, you know, gas, methanol, nitromethane. Never had a problem with it. I use that in every one. But I always, on the Predators, I always check the cap. And if it's got a resistor in it, I'll just use one of the caps that we sell at the shop, part number DJ 1261 or 1262. Come on, Simpson, where you at? Spark plug cap. Put it up there for me. I didn't mean to snap at you, I'm sorry. Yeah, gear oil is very bad smelling stuff, but you know, it has its place. Slick 50, never use that stuff. I don't see why it wouldn't work. It's a high zinc additive. It would wear good. Slick 50 would be great. Space chain, that's something I ain't heard in a long time. That's something you used to hear back in the late 90s, mid to late 90s, early 2000s. Everybody's running space chain. I think they still make it. I'm not sure. That was some really good stuff back in the time. Let's see, Rotella in the crankcase. Guess you're asking if you can run Rotella oil in these engines. Yeah, as long as it's gasoline. The Rotella don't mix well with methanol. Don't mix at all with methanol, actually. Rotella, that semi-synthetic, that I think it's a 1030. I know a lot of people that run that stuff. You know, it's good oil. I mean, it's probably, you know, not the best oil I'd recommend to put in it. You know, let's see, what oil would that be? Oh yeah, Lucas. That's the best oil to put in it. But when I've done some endurance road racing down in Monticello, Florida, a lot of those guys run that Rotella stuff in it, with a little bit of that Lucas additive, and had good results with it. If you're not talking about me, just say trick or treat. Trick or treat. Jonathan, you just told everyone I'm the man. Thank you. Marvel's Mystery Lube. Marvel's Mystery Oil is a lube for chain or bearings. Marvel's Mystery Lube to me that's a very lightweight stuff. That is, to me, that's an additive you need to put into something. You know, like you're putting in your oil or transmission or something to help clean inside of something. Or I think you can put that stuff in your fuel. I'm not 100% sure. I ain't used it very much. I used to use Marvel's Mystery Oil and transmission fluid, ATF, mixed together 50-50. That was my final clean on a block when I was cleaning blocks. That's what I used to use. I just use straight ATF now, automatic transmission fluid. But I used to thin it out because it would help clean a little bit better. But I don't think that'd be good for chains. Yeah, if you're gonna use, it might be alright to soak it in it. I'm pretty sure it'd be great if you got Marvel's Mystery Oil, drop it down the chain on it, it would penetrate and it would clean it well. It'd clean the chain really good, but as far as a lube, I wouldn't think so. My boy David Simpson's on the ball tonight. DJ 1261 Grant for those coil caps. God, I can't think of stuff tonight. I wasn't at work today for those of y'all that tried to call. I went on a field trip with Landon today. We went to a produce place over here. They got a petting zoo, and it's like a pumpkin patch and all. We've been over there all day, and I'm tired. That boy run me to death today, and so I'm a little bit fried out. Yeah, about 117 lengths. Wow, that's long for a 13. Well, no, yeah, that's long. You got an engine sitting way forward, but hey, that's great. Right there's 117 lengths. It's a long chain. You got the engine slid way forward. That's good. Get the weight off of the right rear tire. Amsoil's a good oil. Okay, I'm finally through with all these questions. Yay. But anyway, that's about it in a nutshell. I'm going to try to get on off here in a little bit because my wife is still studying. You like my Charlie Brown cup? That's awesome, man. But she's still studying for her master's. She will be done in February. And I'm going to throw a gigantic block party. That's just, me and myself invited. When she's done, that way I can do more videos. That's one of the reasons I haven't been doing a lot of videos, because she studies like 12 and a half days a week. I rarely get to see her, like when walking out the door, that's about it. But she'll be done in February, so maybe then I can start doing some more videos, some more in-depth stuff instead of the real basic stuff like I'm doing now. And speaking of that, I was talking to some people the other day, talking about my videos, and he was a pretty well-to-do engine builder. He's pretty well known, does really good for himself, been doing it for a long time. Kind of got on to me. I wouldn't say got on to me, kind of questioned why I do these videos so basic. Basic stuff, basic blueprinting, basic chain maintenance, basic this. He says, that stuff that's I knew 20 years ago. I said, well, that's good. You've been in the business for 20 years. You should have known this. I don't do these videos for engine builders like you. I do them for these guys that's doing them in their garage. They're building engines in their garage. Father and son sitting out there on a Thursday night watching a video and learning how to do something that had no idea of how to do this before. Or, a grandfather and a granddaughter building a go-kart together, building a mini bike together. I do it as basic as I can for the ones that don't know. Because if you go out there and you just start throwing information out, numbers and equations and all this stuff, it can get overwhelming. And it's like Forrest Gump always says, Mama explained things in ways that I can understand them. It's not that people are dumb or stupid, because I was in the same position that most of the people watching this video right now was in 30 years ago. I've been doing this. I was actually born into this, for those of y'all that hadn't watched my other videos. This is all I've known for 42 years. But nobody is born knowing this stuff. Everybody had to be taught. There's a lot of people out there that think they were born knowing it all. They wasn't. Somebody taught them. They had to learn it, or they got advice from other people. And the people that I learned the most from are the people that sat down and explained the basics to me. I don't care. Most people don't want to really get into, flow equations on a head. Port velocity and stuff like that. That's a little too much to jump into. Start with the basics and go up. That's why, I've gotten lots of messages. Lots. I ain't trying to point nobody out here, but lots of messages on, I don't watch your videos because they're too basic. Okay, well, they're not for you. That's why I'm not doing them for, if you think they're basic, they're not for you. I'm doing them for the people that keep our lights on, for the people that show up at the racetrack, in the back of their truck, or, the ones that are doing this for a hobby, maybe to keep their son or daughter off the streets. They want to get out there and work with them and show them what it's like to actually build something and work on something and call that something your own. There's a lot of that needs to be done this day and time, but I think that's one thing that's wrong with our world today is they took, there's no more shop classes out there. There's no more, FFA classes. There's no more automotive classes, no more wood shop classes. They are around here, but we live in the deep south. Them things used to be everywhere. And kids are taught to go out and make money. They're not educated to go out and build things. And we need more of that in this world. And that's why I like doing these videos for people, because I really think that it helps the mom and pops, the small guys to get out and do something with their kids, with their grandkids, or something for themselves. But I know that was a long rant, but I've been wanting to say that for a while. For ones that think that they're too basic, they're not for you. They're for the other people that we're trying to help. But anyway, that's pretty much it in a nutshell tonight. Thank y'all for stopping by. Like I say, I hope after the first of the year, when Trish gets done with her master's degree, she will be a Jedi Master, and I'll be able to do some more videos. And I'm planning on getting a little more in depth with stuff. I feel like I could be. You talking about Monticello, Georgia? That's where y'all run the yard carts up there in Monticello. I've seen y'all's website. I've been meaning to give y'all a shout out. Y'all send me. I need to get some information. That looks like a whole lot of fun up there. I would love to. I just burped live on air. I'm sorry. This is orange juice in here, in case y'all wondering. But anyway, I am gonna come up there one day. I got to be able to, have a little time to get away. But anyway, after the first year, when she gets done with her masters and stuff, I'm hoping to do some more in-depth videos. I may get into, a little more valve work, a little more port work, rings and stuff. To get more into actual building stuff, and that way we handled the basics here for a while. We need to step up and do a little more. And I'm really wanting to do a lot more for the mini bike guys. We got a big mini bike market out there. We got a big mini bike following. I really want to do a mini bike build. I just want to do something that I'd probably never race, but it would just be, something really wild to do, just to have something to look at and have fun with. But yeah, that's a time thing. Usually we do stuff like that, like with the dual engine cart I built, 4 years ago, whenever that was. Been out in the dust all day. But normally we do those type of things in the wintertime. But we stayed busy through the winter with other projects, outside of ARC, personal projects and stuff like that. But I really want to do a mini bike build, and I'm drawing up some stuff, and I'm gonna do one day. Don't know when, but I need to do something for the mini bike guys and y'all mini bike guys that have these club races and get-togethers and big stuff. Y'all send me some information on that. I'd like to come to one of them. I don't know if I can go to California for one. There's a lot of stuff in California, a lot of stuff in Texas, a lot of stuff in Detroit. I'd love to come to one if it's close enough, as I can't stay gone too long. But y'all send me some information. I'd like to show up to one day and just kind of hang out and see what all's going on with y'all. But anyway, thanks everybody for stopping by tonight. We'll put this up it'll be on the Facebook page tonight. We'll put it on YouTube tomorrow. Our YouTube page, for those of y'all that don't know, is ARC Racing on YouTube. All the videos we've ever done, including some personal testing videos and on-track videos and racing videos, is all on the ARC page on YouTube. And y'all can go over and check them out. Y'all can look at my gorgeous face anytime y'all want to, or check out what my son's doing, whatever. But anyway, thank y'all for stopping by, and we'll see y'all next time. Y'all have a good evening. Thank you.